and overlook with them. Senorita, the one arm and the one on 9 millimeter. So let's just full of vibes, full of meter. Sly and Robbie, Beanie Man, Shaggy, Maxi and Bounty. Lady saw she too will be there. Ooh, yeah. Ooh, we gonna love somebody. Start it with your love. Tell somebody. Don't know.
Listen all day, every day on your favorite streaming platform. The clean, fresh sound. Activated Mornings on WEFM 99.9 is on now.
Alrighty, and for those in need of a time check, it is now 8:13, and we are back with you with another commentary segment of today's Activated Mornings program. All right, it is Friday. It is Friday. It is hippie. I didn't make any sense there with that last one, but you know what I mean, right? Right.
No, it makes
it's
sense.
Friday. You know how to make sense.
Well, all of that too. And then there's the feeling again. Yippee, yay. That's the feeling. So it makes sense.
All right. So good morning again to everybody. And you have with you this morning Dianna and myself, Roleza, and we are your hostesses for this morning. We hostesses every morning, by the way. I just say we every morning. All right. So, all right. Hoping that everybody's day is off to a good one. Crystal's friend said that it was already hot where he was, and yesterday was real sticky though. I was home. I actually didn't go outside. I was home and I felt sticky. Sticky, icky.
Well, I feel sticky every day. So
Yeah.
hot every day.
And the only thing is that when it's hot, like I get drowsy. Like I just knock out. So I had to go and do my usual, like a 30-minute cat nap to just reset my brain and then get up and get going again. But when it is warm, don't call me outside, do not call me outside.
Honestly, it's too hot to go outside.
Yeah, I keep saying that I love to see the place that's bright and sunny and everything, but I am not going to be in that sun. And sometimes I was wondering what I was in the past life, like if I was a field slave or something, because I have a feeling that I was beaten to death, which is probably why it is I avoid the hot sun so much, because this hot sun I'm not about that life, right? So yeah, in the past life, I was probably a field slave. I was a field slave. All right. All right. That's enough of me and my nonsense. All right. So we are jumping into another segment. Remember, you can get interactive with us. The number to call is 457-9997. We are already live on Facebook and YouTube. All right. So at this time, we're going to jump into another topic.
Yes.
Many of us were wondering what was going on, but this week, the information was released. All right. So we're just going to quickly touch on the preliminary 2024 CXC results. Now, we can't do any big set analysis. We're just going to look at the information that was provided and inform persons who may not have been alerted. All right. So reading, this came out on the 4th of September, which would have been on Wednesday, Yes, Mr. Weeks, if it's one thing that I have been picking up on when I say would have, right? And every time I say it, I'm going to correct myself once I pick up on it. It's one of those things that because so many people say it, somehow it's crept into my speaking as well. And I am very cognizant of it at this time. Okay. So it was released on the 4th of September. All right. So this is from the Ministry of Education. So on the heels of, all right, let's just get into the meat of it, right? So the updated preliminary results for the 2024 May-June Caribbean Examinations Council CSEC exams were received on the 29th of August. This year, 23 candidates, right? This is what happened when I read it on the phone. All right, let's go again. So this year, 2,234 candidates were registered, and of these, 1,484 were school candidates and 750 were private candidates. There were 1,477 school candidates from 27 secondary schools sitting papers 1 and 2 with 10,120 subject entries in 31 subject areas. Approximately 73.6% of the subject areas were awarded grade 1s to 3. The corresponding figure for last year was 72.16. All right, so there is a slight improvement from last year. English A, expected, and math. All right, so and social studies, electronic document preparation and management. The lowest entries were in religious education. Imagine only 22 sat religious education. Additional maths with 23 and music 26. All right. This year, 17.2 of the passes were at grade 1 level, 40.67 at grade 2, and 42.13 at grade 3. All right, so I'm just going to focus on this year's, right? The subjects with the highest percentage pass were theater arts with 100%.
Boop, 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 boop.
That's yes, yeah. You did that at school?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I hope I'm correct in thinking this, but I think when I did theater arts, my class was the first to do it.
Okay.
I believe. If I am wrong, somebody please correct me. But that group of us who did it were the first.
What year did you do it?
20.
Dianna, it wasn't that long ago.
Maybe 2010, 2011, around there. That's long.
You can't remember when you did that?
That's what. Yes, that's what I'm telling you. It was 2010, 2011.
You're saying with confidence?
Yes.
It can't be 2010 or
No,
2011.
I always remember the year I graduated because it was the year the school turned 100. So I could never ever forget that.
So then that's the year you did it?
Yes.
Which
well,
year?
I mean, I started in Form 4, so that's
now
why
we
I'm
ain't
saying
counting Form 4, we call it Form 5.
Okay, 2011. Yeah.
Very good. We got that answer from Dianna. All right. So the subjects with the highest percentage pass were theater arts with 100, physical education and sports with 97.47, office administration 95.81%, industrial technology. I didn't even know this was a thing. Why I was in the school system so long? Anyway, in industrial technology 93.75. The subjects with the lowest percentage pass were mathematics with 31.6%, Spanish with 46.31%, clothing and textiles, textiles, clothing and fashion 51.79%, and geography with 52.58%. All right. So the schools with the highest percentage passing are, hold on. Let me read the TVET one first. Right. So TVET subjects with the highest percentage pass were industrial technology with 93.75, family and resource management 89.39%, and food and nutrition and health with 82.73. The subjects with the lowest percentage pass were technical drawing 74.15, and textiles, clothing, and fashion with 51.79. All right. So the schools with the highest passes were the Girls High School with 96.59, St. Vincent Grammar School 91.15, St. Martin's Secondary with 90.37, St. Joseph's Convent with 85.54, and the Thomas Saunders with 82.79. All right. There were 13 schools that received passes between 60 and 80%. These were Beckway Seventh-day Adventist, St. Joseph's Convent Miracle, Mountain View Academy, North Union Secondary, Bishop's College Kingston, Sandy Bay Secondary, Bookament Bay Secondary, St. Clair Dakin, Intermediate High, Western George, Beckway Community High, Emmanuel High, and Emmanuel High, Mesopotamia, and Canawan Secondary School. All right. So for those who wish to find or read more about this, you can go on, I guess it's on the Ministry of, was it? Media. Okay. We're actually saying it is API, right?
Yeah.
You can get the release there on API. So yeah, the long-awaited results, at least preliminary results, have been released. I suppose, was it surprising to see who the top 5 schools were?
Perhaps not. Perhaps not.
All right. Now, to be fair, let's also say that the Sandy Bay Secondary School and Emmanuel High School showed improvement in their performances. All right. So they had a percentage in. So they had slight percentage increases. All right. So we have to, while we are commending the schools that did very well, we also have to make mention of the schools who have seen slight improvement or improvement in their percentage passes, and those being the Sandy Bay Secondary School as well as the Emmanuel High School. All right. Anything, Dianna?
I found something interesting. Well, at least I think it's interesting. I look at the Buckerman Bay Secondary School and I saw that they have a 60-something% pass rate. So I just want to big up Buckerman. Not the fact that not just the fact that they were able to achieve that pass rate, but they seem to have done better than some of these schools that we I want to choose my words so carefully, but let me just say that I'm proud of where they are. I'm proud of what they have achieved, considering many of the things that we consider. So I'm proud of Buckerman for that and looking forward to greater things as well. And I'm also pleased with Sandy Bay and Emmanuel for showing some signs of improvement. Big up yourself there as well. Of course, I gotta look at the subjects and we've been having this discussion for a while. Firstly, I think when we started discussing the maths English pass or fail rate, however you want to put it.
Sure. Pass rate, I know, yeah.
But I am just looking at these subjects here, looking at those that got the highest percentage passes, those that's, well, I don't know if we could call it a pass. It ain't really a pass, but interesting things to look at there. And I just wonder what we're going to do in terms of education, because you're hearing it talked about how the education system needs a change. But I feel like the people that can help to implement this change don't see the need for a change. That's how
change
I
in
feel.
What way though?
A lot of things, the teaching and engagement, the timetables, the entire school setup. I personally think it needs a little boost. In fact, we probably need to, when you make a mistake on a paper, you just scratch up wrap it up and just throw it in the garbage and you start fresh. Yeah, I feel like we need to do that.
Okay, well, I have been out of the school system for donkey years at this point, right? So I don't think that I can give any sort of insight or any sort of recommendations in terms of what was or what is happening, right? I think one of the things that when I looked at the results and looking at what we call the traditional subject as well as the skills-based or technical subjects, one of the things that I was curious about and what I would like to see stats for would be how many students did the quote-unquote traditional subjects as well as did something that is skills-based or technical, right? Because I've made this point before, and I would always make the point that for me, when it comes to children leaving school, students leaving school, their education has to be a bit rounded in a sense, right? They can leave with the... You can go ahead. I'll finish your point after. Hi, caller. Good morning.
Yeah, good morning. Just listening to you guys talking about exams, the results, and all of that. I think in spite of improvement and a lot more subjects being offered and so on, English and maths still remain the basic or the two most important subjects that we should pay attention to. When for instance, did you say 31% was the result of those who did that?
Yeah, 31.6.
Anyhow, the point I want to make is that when people, when any student or whoever gets 100% in mathematics, that person should be well, what's the word I'm looking for? For instance, when was the last, this might be difficult, but I can't can't recall if I ever heard anyone getting 100% in mathematics. I don't know. Right? English, yes. But those two basic subjects, we should always be concerned because it reflects, on our overall understanding in terms of how we function in life and so on. Yeah, but I wonder when was the last time, or if ever, we have had somebody achieving 100% in mathematics. Just that brief talk. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Dave. All right. Yes, so as we've discussed before, there is a problem with the results that we see for math and to some extent English. I even remember at university level, one of the things that persons would always advocate is people do English for academic purposes in semester one, first semester one of their first year, because that is also one of the subjects that many persons or some persons tend to fail and have to do repeatedly. And if you don't get it, you're not going to graduate, right? Mm-hmm. So even at the UE level, at university level, at least for UE itself, there are some persons who go in with that challenge as well. And statistics. I shouldn't say because I'm contributing to what many persons look at in terms of a math-based subject. So yeah, my apologies, right? So the point that I was making is that for me, when it comes to children leaving school, students leaving school, I would insist, me personally, would insist that they do a traditional, what we call the traditional subjects, as well as a skills-based subject, right? And again, I'm making the point that we just never know when this skills-based subject is going to come in handy, either as your full-time job or to help you to be able to make some money on the side, right? There are times when we think that the traditional, and to be fair, yes, it is that I know that not everybody is so inclined, right? Not everybody may have a skill, but I think sometimes just at least exposing them. Like I remember when we were in Form 3, well, Form 1 to Form 3, we were exposed to needlework, we were exposed to food and nutrition, right? It's just that because I went to high school, we were streamed. So because you're streamed, if you want to take up certain subjects, you have to do it outside, right? So something like art, I considered taking up, but I didn't do it. Even clothing and textiles is something that I would have wanted to do in school, but I would not have been able to do it in school because of the streaming system. Yeah. Right. So I always think that for students who may have an inclination or a passion for something that is not, again, I'm using the word traditional based, that is not traditional based, that this should be exposed to, because we just never know. Food and nutrition is, people just think of it as being cookery, right? You're just going and cook, but there is so much more to food and nutrition than just going in a kitchen to cook. All right. You never know. You can become a dietitian. You could become a sports nutritionist. It could lead to many different areas. And having those main subjects, and I probably shouldn't even say any main subjects like that, but having those other subjects along with that skills-based subject would be handy for them in terms of their overall and rounded education.
True. There's something I saw. I should have had it ready for this morning, and I don't know how that slipped me. But I think it was somebody commenting on the particular pass rate of something, and they're saying that it's been that way for a while. I think I'm not sure where I saw that, but it's been that way for a while. So I just can't help but wonder if we're seeing this particular pattern over a couple of years, what are we doing to change it? Because we can't be doing the same thing. And then
is it a good
not a good
poor?
Thing.
Okay.
Poor, yeah. So we can't be doing the same thing. Again, I don't know what they're doing. I can't speak to the secondary education. I've not been in secondary education, so I don't know what is happening there, except for my own secondary experience, of course. But that was a long time ago. But I am saying, if we have been doing the same thing and we see it ain't working, it's to try something else, because as they say, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, expecting different results. So are we doing anything different? I know in the primary school that they're trying, because you understand in primary school, it is very important because that's the foundation. And it's so important to lay a good foundation. But I think even then there's too much pressure on the children at the primary level. And most
pressure in what? In terms of
pressure in fact secondary too, because we just feel that once you're in school you're supposed to be piled up with all of this other thing, and we see at the piling up thing may work for some, but it's not working for most. So can't we take some of the things out of the timetable? It sounds crazy to say, but if the children are suffering and we can't continue to blame the children, we really cannot continue to blame the students if we continue to get poor results. We got to examine something else. I personally believe school is very, very heavy, and the timetable needs to change. Something different needs to be done, honestly, because we're going to continue to see the same result. The thing pressure on these kids, man. But that's my little piece for now. For now.
All right. Well, I mean, I have to I am listening to you, but I don't know exactly how to maybe comment on it. I know that, like, even when my niece was in primary school, I think one of the things that sort of got to me in the end were the amount of projects that they had to do for, what was that thing? To contribute so it's like a SBA, but for primary school, whatever that thing was called. I can't remember what it's called, right? And I found that it was just too much for them to be doing. And to be honest, there are many times when it's the parents or the guardians who are going to sit down and do them.
Yep.
Right? Confession, my niece has already passed through secondary school, so I can say it no, right? But there are many times when, like, I always remember that there was this thing that she had to do with this macaroni skeleton thing. But her fingers would not have been, for her to do it, it would have taken a lot of time for her to sit down and to be precise and to do it neatly. So guess who sat down there and assisted?
Not the niece.
Not the niece, right? And this is the thing that I'm saying, that there are many times when I thought that it was just too much that was being given to them, too much projects for them to pass in. And, when you go through it with them, it's almost like you breathing a sigh of relief after they have done their exams. So I know that it's going towards to help to assist in terms of the overall pass mark at the common entrance level, at the, the thing? CPAA level, right? And this is older me remembering common entrance, CPAA level. Right. But I just found that at that point in time, it was just too much. And I don't know how secondary school students are making it at this time. When I did CXC, there were only SBAs for certain subjects. Now I'm realizing that there are SBAs for just about everything. How are students doing SBAs? They're also preparing for internal tests, because there are some cases when you're going to have a weekly test or maybe a bi-weekly test every 2 weeks, right? How are they preparing for their end of term exams or their end of year exams, as well as trying to study? And this is why I made the point with Mr. Weeks, where there are times when I feel that many persons are just studying to memorize, and it's the regurgitation of information. It's not actually sinking in.
That's what would happen. And then you have children who think, they just need to learn for the exam. So by the time
you've not even learned, you're cramming, because because if you have to do so much during the school term, are you actually able to sit down to learn and to understand and maybe to apply certain things when you have so many subjects that you're doing, so many subjects that require different assignments, different SBAs, etc. I don't know how I would have made it at this time. I mean, I probably would have just gone along with it because I would have had no choice. But personally, just to wrap my mind around the fact that there are almost SBAs for every subject area, I am happy that I went to school at the time that I did.
I'll say it again. And I think some of the, not all, but some of the older persons in education, they think that because it's been done this way. And of course, people like me and you, for example, now when they're learning to read, they're learning letter songs. When me when I go to school, no letter song not been exist. We learn the whole word as it is. Let me just.
Hi, caller. Morning.
Hi, ladies. Morning again.
Morning.
Sorry.
When you speak education, it's a special interest of mine. And I just called to say that Roleza, Dianna, you guys have, without speaking to it, directed to it, has, in my opinion, identified the problem we're having with the mathematics result. And generally, the results of our exams. I just want to say to, I think it was Dave who asked, a few years ago, less than 5 years ago, there's a child who took the CPEA and scored 100%. The mathematics, that is. So we have had it at that level. And the Minister of Education is quite correct that at the primary school level, that our children are doing exceptionally well in mathematics. 100%, 97. The top students, that's what they score. But why are they doing so? Is that exactly why they're doing, why they're getting the top score? Then it is that same reason why they go up to the upper level and their results are quite the opposite. Because at CPEA to a large extent has come to simply writing back answers to questions that you've seen before. Mm-hmm. Many of our students, that's how they prepare for CPEA exams. You have all of these past papers, and your parent, your guardian, an external teacher simply sit with you over a year, 2 years, and give you all of these problems to work. And you get to a point that when you see that problem, most times it is the exact problem, the exact wording, and right away, you know the answer. Because that's how testing is done. It takes a lot to prepare a question if you're going to make up a good question. And therefore, once you have a pool of questions, examiners, not just CXC, they go back and they take these questions from previous exams and put them on the paper. And I think our population has come to know that. There's some who knew that from before. Those who attended certain schools. And in the past, you see they got 100% at the common entrance then. But it came to a point where the other schools understand and accepted that's the way you prepare for common entrance, then now CPE exams. And as Dianna said, it is simply, or it was you, Roleza, or both of you, said it is simply a matter of learning the question, learning the answer. You cannot do mathematics that way.
True.
You see, exams are meant to test what you were taught. And often we take that to mean the content. So you are tested in a particular curriculum. You are provided with certain content, and you are tested for those content. In the case of mathematics, you are tested for more than the content. Because if you look at the math curriculum, you would see the method of learning is quite important. The way you analyze the question, that's quite important. And we are not teaching that in our children. We are not teaching children to analyze, we are teaching children to remember. And that's one of the problems we're having with mathematics. I said before, our children are not given the analytical skills. Mathematics require comprehension. You have to read the question and comprehend what the question is asking you. And we are not taught that. We listen and we are talking. And very often we are missing the point. You are missing a very important information that those who spoke before us that they give. And we are accusing them of not saying this when they said it. Because we don't comprehend, we don't listen well, we don't understand. And you cannot do mathematics without grasping that skill. And I think that's one of the things that the Ministry of Education has to look into.
Agreed.
I don't think we have gotten right in terms of what is tested in mathematics, because too many of us, from the very beginning of our school life, we encounter a teacher who had serious problems with mathematics, who were never given the opportunity to love mathematics. And so they do not give our children at that level the opportunity to love mathematics again. Also, sorry, I come back and take up your time. I really prefer to hear other persons call, but when it comes to education, it's something I'm passionate about. And once I get the opportunity, I will speak on it.
It's not a problem.
Wishing you a happy weekend again.
All right.
We talk next week, hopefully.
You're welcome. All right. All right. You know, as Mr. Weeks was speaking there, though. So yes, it would involve the way in which math in particular is taught, right? But, you know, I also think that in a way it comes back to parents too.
That's part of it too.
How, well, okay, so not even just a matter of, let's say, parents assisting children with their schoolwork, etc. What it is that crossed my mind when he was speaking on it is how many games or activities do we buy for children that would allow for them to do some thinking, right? How many games, activities that we would buy for them that would allow for them to exercise their brain? One of the things is that, yes, we know tablets and devices, you put them in front of them, they go in a corner, they stay out of our way, right? Yeah. So that we as the adults can get on with our day. But do we allow them to do puzzles from a very young age? I remember you making mention of only doing Sudoku recently, right? Yeah. Now, Sudoku is one of those games where you have to be patient, right? You have to be patient and you have to be thinking in terms of your next steps, in terms of if you put down this number, where in the other lines would it fall? You know, is it going to be repeated, etc. But you have to stop. Well, I know Mr. Weeks said something the other when I said stop and think, but you have to stop and think. And in many times, I wonder how many parents, guardians, whoever, even teachers in the classroom setting, right, allow their children to be involved or engage in activities that would cause their brains to stimulate. Because it's one thing for you to have, let's say, a history subject, and you can't just regurgitate in history, right? There isn't any real set of critical thinking in a sense, unless the question asks for you to critically analyze whatever or discuss. But with a subject like history, you can regurgitate.
Yep.
Right? Geography does involve some mathematics, but many times we see that a lot of the subjects that some students take up is just regurgitation of information, not those that would actually engage or allow for them to stop and think. And part of it goes back to us, our adults, as parents, in terms of the things or the activities that we engage our children in.
Yeah, I don't think this topic of education, I think we need a 1 hour session.
We wait
to
until
discuss,
we could
because I feel like we need to really sit down and think about it. It's a combination of things. So we need the parental involvement. We need parents to be aware as well. We talk about the involvement, but some parents really aren't aware of certain things that are harmful to their children, or as you mentioned, games like those that would increase their critical thinking abilities and others. Some parents genuinely really don't know that, so they can't help their child in that way. We also have to look at the way that people are teaching, the reasons why people are teaching the way they're teaching, look at administration, what is administration doing? And so it's just this combined effort. Right, as far as I am concerned. And when I observe some of the things that we consider extracurricular, some of these are the things that are, if I may be bold enough to say so, are more beneficial to some extent than the main things that are in the mainstream. Because, like I said, we don't have enough time, so let me not go on. Evan, I note your comments. All
right, so we are going to have to jump out at this time as we have the lovely Lisa Vera, Miss Courts, in studio with us. All right, so we are going to be right back with our interview with Lisa. All right.